Thanks for coming, guys. I have to ask, was that the first time you've seen it with an audience? Pretty much?
Yeah.
How is that? I mean, as you guys, that thing happens when you're working on a new show where you're sort of in a bubble. You're like, well, we think this is funny. And then you hear laughs. How much is that a validation of the work you've been already started doing?
It's always like, I mean, I've been writing comedy since, professionally since 2002. It's amazing how little you can predict what's going to play and what's not. Like, there's just no, I never get better at it. I have no idea what people are going to laugh at or what things I think are incredibly funny that completely die. So it's just really, really helpful to just hear it in a room. And, but it's always different. It's if you're watching it in a small room with people, you're watching it with industry people or just, or non-industry people, it's always different. I can never tell.
And comedy's not really subjective. Like, you never want people to be like, that's really funny. I see why that's funny. If they're not laughing, it ain't working.
Yeah,
so.
Totally. Well, Danny, I'm going to start with you. I mean, where did the origin of this show come from? Was this something you and Stamos had sort of worked on together, or did you come to him with this pitch?
I came to him with the pitch. I don't know how inside you want to be, but I'm on something that's called an overall deal over at ABC Studios, which is basically they pay you to just develop for them every year. And I just really wanted to find something for him because I knew that he wanted to do TV, and it's to work with just a genuine bona fide TV star is such a huge advantage. It's like, it's like starting on third base. And so I've just tried to think of a show idea that he might respond to, and and just kind of luckily he at the same exact time was kind of looking to do something that was very kind of mainstream, down the middle, kind of broad appeal network thing. Like he was saying when I sat down with him last July, he was saying like, I've been thinking of doing this thing on for Hulu or Netflix or something where I'm playing like a drug dealer who's snorting cocaine and shooting guns and stuff, playing against type. And then he was like, but then I had a conversation with my agent where he's like, don't do that. He's like, dude, you're Uncle Jesse. People like watching you be nice and playing with kids. And so it actually was just really good timing that he then sat down with me and I had this idea for him, and he was like, oh, that's the sort of thing that I'm looking to do.
Because everyone in America will be asking, how far is John Stamos from the character we're watching in this show? I mean, is he just rolling into set in his actual clothing at this point?
We changed the name from John to Jimmy.
And that's it. Got it. Okay, good to know. Josh, it had been a long time since you had done a series regular gig on a live action television series. What was it about Grandfather that appealed to you?
I just sort of thought initially, if I could go back and call 13-year-old chubby Josh and be like, bro, you're going to be able to pass as John Stamos' little kid. I would have needed a lot less therapy growing up, you know what I'm saying? But similar to what Danny was saying about John, I did Drake and Josh for so many years, and it was a huge part of my childhood, and it was really like high school, because once I finished, I was like, I want to go play a drug dealer, and I want to go completely against type. And I did that for a while, and some things that you've seen and some things that you haven't, and trust me, it's for the best. and I really enjoyed that part. And now being 28 and really wanting to come back and do this again, and in reading the script, I said, wow, this seems totally like the next step, like elevated material, but still being able to be sweet and funny.
Absolutely. But you have done such great comedy work. You're just coming off a fantastic season of Community, which I feel like everyone needs to get to Yahoo Screen and watch if you have not yet.
Thank you.
But you would also spend a very long time on a serialized drama doing Criminal. I mean, that is like a very specific kind of acting. Once you sort of got your feet back into the comedy world, were you like, oh, I need to do more of this again. This is good.
Yeah, I love Criminal Minds and everyone on it and and we're all friends, and it was great. But 6 years of, the FBI brow and the arms crossy, and I love it. But it's a very specific kind of acting, and comedy is scarier in a way because you're taking a risk, and sometimes you look awful if you're a lady. I'm thrilled to be a part of this, and Community was really scary, but that was a blast. So I'm just really happy that I get to do both serious stuff and comedy, although I never want to play a drug addict. That seems like so much work.
What I love, Paget, about your character is that she's so adamant about not being the nag. She's so adamant about, I am not going to become the woman who yells at the guy for being irresponsible. And I think that's such a refreshing archetype, because I think on another show that wasn't as smart as this, it would be so easy for her to be that character. When you read the script and you saw that sort of defining characteristic, was that a moment where you're like, okay, good, we can keep reading here?
Yeah, absolutely. I was shooting Community while I read the script for this, and I knew I was that if I did get this show, that I would shoot weekends, and I was like, I am too tired. I did not want to like the script, and it was great. And what Daniel wrote was not, and her actually saying, I don't want to be this stereotype, was so real. And she's funny and just won't deal with Jimmy being who he is, and that to me was very funny. But I think all of the characters are real and based in a truth, and they're funny when they're saying what they feel and what they don't feel, and what they want and what they're afraid of. And so the script just killed me. I loved it. And then I went and auditioned, and they were all so nice. And Stamos is really sweet. He's really great. I don't think he does anything. Would he ask for an Asian doctor? I don't know if he's he had white Kevin or whatever. I don't think Stamos is like that. He seems nicer than that. But they were all great, and Daniel's great. So I was really excited to be a part of this team.
Was there a lot of chemistry testing that had to happen with the actors? Did you guys sort of meet with John to see if there was natural, organic chemistry there?
John has chemistry with his pharmacist.
That's a fair point.
John's sort of a chemistry factory.
No, it's totally true though, because we knew that there was going to have to be a lot of compatibility between the people we cast, and thankfully we had John already locked in, because sometimes you're doing chemistry and you don't have any parts cast, so you're actually what if it's this person and this person, or what if it's this other person and this other person? Mm-hmm. So we had John, so we kept on bringing him in. We were just working him to the bone, just constantly come in and read with this person and this person, and it's true. With John, you watch him read with anyone, you're like, that was amazing. That was you guys, I'm in love with both of you. And then he'd come afterwards, he's like, I wasn't feeling that. And then you'd be like, oh, okay. And then with both Josh and Paget, it was he came in, he's like, that felt really good, and he's such a pro. He's been doing this for a long time. He knows how to do a show that lasts, a billion seasons. So he actually was able to kind of come to us and say, this person would I can keep working with this person. They're going to keep on bringing stuff to the part. I think there are some people where he just kind of knew, about 2 minutes is about all I got with this person,
Absolutely. Josh, you come to this show with, I am sure many of you are familiar, one of the largest Vine followings, I think, of any actor. I mean, there's 8.6 million people who follow you on Vine.
No big deal. Yeah, Paget, I'm a big deal.
I mean, what's crazy about that is a number that a network would kill to watch a comedy. If they're if we can get 8 million people to watch a television show every week, I mean, I'm curious. I mean, this is a very new age in the way entertainment is disseminated. You're just coming off a web series. You have 40 billion people following you for 6 seconds at a time. I mean, can you talk a little bit about sort of how you feel that parlays into your experience as an actor and the audience you can bring to something?
Well, I work great in 6-second increments. It's a half-hour format I have a harder time with. But yeah, I mean, what I think is incredibly cool with social media and the YouTube generation is you can sort of bypass the gatekeepers. You no longer have to be in LA or New York or have representation and what have you to get in. You could just be a kid from the Midwest who is funny and makes his friends laugh, and if you have the guts to put it out there, like you'll gain an audience, and you also have to have the guts to hear people be like, "You suck," because there's always going to be that guy. But now more than ever, are you able to go directly to your audience, and that's really powerful, and keep them engaged. Like Paget and I were talking earlier, like, you know, first Stamos was Uncle Jesse on Full House, and now he can tweet about what he's having for breakfast, and you're like, Stamos doing oatmeal again? It's crazy, you know? But you're engaged in his life, so it's very cool.
When did you realize that there was a groundswell sort of becoming a part of your daily Vine activity? I mean, is it when you hit the first million, you're like, oh, crap? Or is it like when you hit 8.6?
It was pretty early on. I had some friends say to me, like, I don't know what this is, but it's good. Like, keep doing this. And then I just started seeing this reaction, and I would, like, make raps about Chick-fil-A in my car. And then, like, some random, like, dude that I ran into would be like, rolling by Chick-fil-A. And I'd be like, you know that? So it just started becoming part of the consciousness a bit more. And then people were mentioning it more than Drake and Josh. I'm like, this shit's out of control.
Is there like a few moment there, like, whew, or are you cool? Have you found a place where like the Drake and Josh people can live amongst the Vine people and the grandfathered people?
No, I mean, it's a beautiful sort of balance, and I mean, Drake and Josh will be around forever, and I'm incredibly proud of it, and it's, you know, people will come up to me and be like, I ain't calling you a truther, and I'll be like, thanks, bruh. Like, so it's great. It's great.
Danny, how aware of this were you? I mean, you know, like I was saying, a network would kill to have 8.6 million people watch a show. If you think like there are this many people who are interested in this actor, is that just cherry on top of the sundae when he brings the comedic gifts that he does to the series anyway?
Yeah, I mean, well, it's so weird now how that does kind of become a part of the conversation. Like the agents will be pitching you, like I don't know if you know this, like there's like they send out like a press release about your social media profile.
Oh, my deck.
Yeah.
I mean, what?
There's like pie charts and stuff on it. It's crazy, but you like when you're actually like,
I'll take what I can get, people. It's hard out there. Gotta get that edge.
But seriously, I mean, like when you're in casting and you're like and you're writing and you're like as a writer, like all you worry about is like, can they, you know, are they good with the material? You know, like you're never gonna be like, well, this person sucks, but they're pretty big on Snapchat, so I'll just cast them. You know, so it's like it's really like it was really just the cherry on top. I mean, like Josh came in, blew us away. We're like, oh, that's Gerald, and then we were like, also the Vine thing, pretty awesome.
There is the old Hollywood saying, never work with babies or animals. We've yet to see an animal, but there is a very adorable baby that sort of is the front and centerpiece of the show in many ways. First of all, how many babies are there? Is it twins, triplets, quadruplets, quintuplets?
There's, and they call them there's a term called hero, that's like the hero babies. The hero babies, there's two, they're twins. But then there's other babies that we had as like, they're like double babies. And it's funny, like you show up one day and there's like 7 babies all wearing the same clothing. And like some of them look like the hero babies from behind. Some of them look like the hero babies like from far away. Some of them don't look like the hero babies at all. And you're just like, and you're just kind of like trying to pop them in like based on like what you need. Like if you only need the back shot from behind, like there is one shot from behind that's not our hero babies because like, you know, they were like screaming or crying or sleeping or something. It's crazy.
For the actors, I mean, how important was it to quickly develop a rapport? I know you just have done the pilot, but I mean, this baby needs to treat you like it's your child and your grandchild. I mean, how do you bond with a baby, I guess is my question, in a short period of time to make it believable on television?
I didn't. I don't know if I did. She was fine. We got along. I only had one scene. She ran around the table. I was like, whee! I haven't had to bond with the 7 babies yet. How did you do?
Well, the first day on set, they were like, why don't you come into the baby's trailer? and like meet them, and so they get comfortable with you, and we're just having a good old time. I'm sitting there with like their parents, and the girls are like high-fiving me and kissing me. I'm like, please. But then you get them on set with like 50 burly grips and like a bunch of random dudes staring at them, and they're finished. And I'm like, oh, you betrayed me. Like, we had such a thing going on, and then like they're like, yo, bro, get me out of here. So, but as like, that was day one, and then by day 7, they were just part of the party. They were way more comfortable and weren't as scared. So, it's we could be watching the next Olsen twins here.
That's right.
Come on.
When you're on set and Stamos has that scene where he's just him and the baby, and then the baby kisses him, are you like every single trailer? Like, this is going in every promotional anything we do for the show because it's the cutest thing that's ever happened.
It was really, the story behind that is we shot that scene on the first night of shooting the pilot, which is, we shot over 7 nights. The first night, and what we got was all the stuff before that where the baby's screaming and crying and like looks like it's being killed. And then we were like, okay, we're not gonna get this. And then we're moving around the city in different locations trying to shoot other scenes. And then every night we were like, we got to try to get that baby moment. So they would actually rebuild that room wherever we were. And we would shoot again. And we tried it a few times. And every time it was like, it was amazing. Like the baby would be so sweet, and the director would call action, the baby would start screaming. It was like Pavlovian. And so then it was really on the last night that we got that moment, and like we were like, oh my God, we all just like grabbed each other, and like I was like crying because if we didn't get that, then the show would be about a monster who takes a screaming baby to a restaurant while she's upset and just dumps her in the corner. Like the baby has to like him for him to be like, okay, I can take you to the restaurant. It's gonna be okay.
Absolutely. I'm gonna open it up to audience questions in a minute, but before we get to that, I would love to know the origins of the Bob Saget cameo that happens towards the end of that. Was he just hanging around, or was he called to come to set?
Bob Saget, when he hears that there's something shooting in town, he just shows up generally. And he's like, what do you want? Saget is really amazing guy, and like I personally am very touched, and like as a guy who grew up watching Full House, that him and John, they're really good friends, and like they're just they're like brothers. It's really sweet. And so and Bob, and I've known Bob for a little bit too, and like he was just like, oh, I'm so happy you guys are working together, like it's a great script, I'd love to, like, if you ever need anything, like a little cameo. And that scene where we were just like, that whole cameo sequence with Don Rickles and Deion Sanders and Lil Wayne, like, was just the most insane process of just calling. I probably called 300 celebrities because it's really hard to get cameos, and so you're trying to get and then Saget just was like such a mensch about it. He was like, I'll come by, I'll do whatever you want, and yeah, so we shot a bunch of stuff that's not in there with him, like all sorts of different types of things of him, like just like doing really like kind of inappropriate jokes to the girl across the table. There's lots of material that we did not use that's very, very funny.
All I want to know now is who said no to the cameo. Is that bad? Who was like, no, I'm just kidding. I would not make you do that. I would love to open it up for your guys' questions now. If you can just give me one of these. No? Okay, good. That's fine.
Thank you. I think that's a wrap.
I have many. You can't leave yet. I have many more questions. I was just trying to be fair. The first episode does a really great job of quickly establishing a world. I mean, you have 22 minutes. You know who all of these characters are. You know the world. You get their relationships. You see sort of the motherly instinct that you've got going there. What excites you, Paige? I'm going to start with you. I mean, what excites you now about what the show can do that all the world building is out of the way?
That's going to be entirely up to Daniel and our writers. What excites me the most is I think all of these characters are interesting, and I think the show can follow any of those relationships. I think Ravi and Kelly in the kitchen are great, funny people. I want to know more about them. And Christina, the mother of Edie. Everyone's interesting to me, so I'm just waiting for our boss to tell us what we're going to do next.
Do you want to use this as an opportunity to tell her what she's going to do next?
The writer's room starts on actually tomorrow, and I definitely am not I was telling them like I want to bring them in to talk about it because this is like a show that unlike ones I've worked on in the past where like, I actually kind of really am wondering myself where it's gonna go. Like I don't know because it's going into this particular project, I was like, I want to do something that just feels really truthful and like character based, like as much as I love like 30 Rock and shows that are really jokey. I worked on Happy Endings, which is a very, very joke heavy show. Like those shows tend to be niche shows, and they have really, really rabid followings, but like the shows that that tend to kind of really, really have mass appeal but are also good, I think get you invested in the characters and get you really caring about the story from week to week, and that's what I want this to be. And so that's why rather than kind of coming in with all these people being like, here's where it's gonna go, and like this is what episode 8 is gonna be and episode 20 is gonna be, it's really, I think, gotta be a collaboration, because like if they can't, if it's not something that they want to play or that's plays to their strengths, it's not gonna, it's gonna, people are gonna kind of, it's gonna ring false, I think.
Josh, as an actor who obviously has a creative side as well, is this the ideal situation to come into a show where the executive producer and the creator says, I really want the actors to also be architects of these characters' journeys as well?
Absolutely. I mean, I think it's an incredibly warm environment, and we would always do what was on the page, and then we would go to Danny and pitch and say, what about this? What about that? And Danny would be like, maybe not that, but try this. And so you want it to be warm. You want to be able to try certain things because there's always that magic. And more so than ever, I think the trend sort of was set with the Apatow comedies and then with great shows like The Office and whatnot of like the audience can feel when it's something not written that was just a magic moment between two actors that came out of just being creative. And so being able to be a part of that is great. But I'm like Paget in the sense of like I want to be told what to do. Like I don't think I have that many great ideas. I'm always like, just tell me where to stand and I'll make a funny face.
I love that. Well, guys, thank you so much for coming here today. Thank you for bringing this show.
Thank you guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you all so much.